And I was friends with a lot of history majors because I was a history major.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to A Conversation with Colin. I'm Greg, and this is my roommate, Colin. Now, sometimes Colin says crazy stuff. So every Tuesday and Thursday, I reach into my random topic pile, pull one out, throw it at him, and we talk it out for your amusement. If you like that, like the video, subscribe to us here on YouTube, and share it with your friends. Colin, are you ready?
Yes.
Today's topic of conversation is your best and worst college experience. This is submitted by All Dem Rupees. Good name.
Best and worst college experience.
I'll go first,
Okay.
because I choose the questions I have time to pick them through. My best college experiences, or my favorite experience to talk about, right, is that when I was finally in charge of the Antlers, I was the Grand Poobah at the University of Missouri for the Antlers, the greatest sports fan on the history of the earth. 1976, they've been going through. I'll be quiet now. I was all excited to be in charge of the Antlers, and I was still underage, but we had the Antler House where we throw Antler Fest every year. And so I came back early, and we started a party that wasn't Antler Fest. We just had a party for people who were already around, and it was me, my one roommate, and then the entire Mizzou track and field team showed up and was hanging out because we knew them. And so at one point, me and my roommate decided we really wanted pizza, so we just left. We just left the house with the Mizzou track, and none of them lived there. We're like, what's the worst that can happen? Went and got pizza, and we're coming back from getting pizza, and we're walking down the street, and we see all these cop cars out in front of our house. And as we get closer, I'm wasted, by the way. As we get closer, we get there, and the entire Mizzou track and field team is on the porch, and there's a cop with his back to the street. He's screaming at them. He's like, "Let me get this straight. All of you are at a party, and none of you live here, and no one that lives here is here. All I want to know is who's in charge." And as he says that, I just get close enough, and I'm all wasted, and I'm so proud to be in charge of the Antlers. I raise my hand and go, "I am officer," and then I trip over a railroad tie in our front yard and bite it, and I'm just sprawled down on the ground. And everyone on the porch starts laughing. This cop is staring at me. He's like, I get up. He's just still screaming at me. I'm just like, "You have a party and you leave. That's a horrible idea. Don't do that." What we were doing is going around and giving out these door hangers that are, if you're having a party, the tips and what you have to do to not get in trouble. And one of them is be there. Like, don't do it. I'm like, all right, I'm sorry. I'll be totally good about it. Blah blah blah. Jump ahead 3 weeks, Antler Fest comes around. It's the big party at Mizzou where all, Antler House gets taken over by anybody who wants to come. Kegs, it's a shit show, gets shut down by the cops every year. I'm throwing the party, and I go down, and I go through the day before, and I get all the stuff that is like, have non-alcoholic drinks, have food, all this dumb bullshit. And so then, in the daily newspaper, the day before Antler Fest, they run this story, or it's weekly, whatever. They run this story about hey, they're gonna do this new program for Mizzou. Whereas if your house gets flagged as a party house, this is a proposed plan. They're gonna go and put a red flag on your house, like a scarlet A, so that if the cops ever drive by again and see that scarlet A, they know to go in there, get you, and it's over, you know what I mean? And I wrote this letter to the editor, and I was just like, this is the most dumb bullshit I've ever heard, and yada yada. And they took out all my curse words and printed it. But the best moment was at the very end of it, I said, if you wanna go to a real party, come to Antler Fest. It's this day, and we'll have a red flag on the side of our house. And so me and my roommate nailed this red flag to the house. And so jump to Antler Fest now. I'm dressed in an Antler shirt, but then jail pants we had, because I knew I was gonna get arrested that night or whatever. And sure enough, eventually the cops show up and they're asking for me by name. I go out there and he's like, "You probably don't remember me, Mr. Miller, but I came by 3 weeks ago and gave you a door hanger." And it was the fucking most clutch moment of my life. I go, "Oh, this door hanger?" And I said, I'm like, "We got cups, we got food, we got," and he's like, "All right, just keep it under control," and left. And I was like, "Oh," it was the greatest moment.
That's your greatest
college
moment?
career. Yeah.
I don't even know where to begin. I'm not going to tell you, I'm just going to tell you a good moment and a bad moment, because the best moments will incriminate everyone I know.
Yeah, of course.
And
that's how these usually go. Sorry for blowing up Antler Fest for the rest of the Antlers for all time.
Yeah, I mean, you know some of the funny stories, though. What was in your hands? Be out. That's all, not going to go there.
Yeah, those people have careers now.
What was in your hands? Yeah. I think a good moment for me, a really good moment for me was when my best friend at college, Ramon, and I, and two of our friends, Jay and Gus, So in 2004, when we were freshmen, we were freshmen, I think so. We decided to go to New Orleans to go to see 311.
Yeah.
And on the plane down, we met these guys named Jay and Gus who were also going to see 311. We had no idea who they were.
Yeah.
And they ended up becoming really good friends of ours. They lived in Melrose, which is a town outside of Boston, and
also a place.
And also the last name of Barry Melrose, who's the NHL hockey analyst for ESPN.
Okay.
And we go back. We decided 2 years later to go see 311 again, this time in Memphis. And so we end up driving down there and it takes like 2 days for us to get to Memphis from Boston.
Yeah.
And all the while we're having a great time, we're doing our thing. But what I remember most about both of these 311 shows with these guys are totally funny, like really just like totally outrageous dudes. They were both at arenas, and the lines would like line up and spiral around the place like to get in, and we would always go late because we were getting drunk and like stupid. So both times we would go like right before doors open and cut the line, like just arbitrarily just walk in front of the line and walk into both of these venues, now having waited with everyone for like 10 hours in this southern heat, getting great seats at both of these shows. So that was a special moment for me, both of those shows, especially 2006, because we made those trips work with no money and no planning and all those kinds of things. It was like very quintessential. You can't get away with that kind of shit anymore, moment where you can't just. I'm not going to school this week, and then I would just leave, and that was the end of that. But in terms of partying moments, I don't want to get too deep in the weeds on that.
Sure. What's your worst?
My worst moment. One moment comes to mind: a Halloween party when I was a junior. It was at BU. Mm-hmm. And
BU. Remember, that's the insult I gave you to insult them with.
And I was friends with a lot of history majors because I was a history major. And this is where the drinking game came from. The drinking game to the presidents comes from this specific.
It's not even a drinking game as much as you guys just sit around and drink and say, to John Adams.
But it was a game at that time.
Made a house.
So I've gotten blackout drunk probably, I don't know how many times in my life.
Yeah.
More than I should have.
They should, yeah.
And at this particular moment at a Halloween party, I met a dude. I was with my friend Katie and a few of our friends from history classes. We met a dude that went to BU that was also a history major. There's a bottle of bourbon nearby, and we started drinking to the presidents. This is where the whole drinking to the presidents idea came from, was from this guy that I've never seen again in my entire life.
Yeah, he changed your life, though.
He was dressed as one of the founders. And we started drinking to, it was a Halloween party.
I already missed that part.
Yeah, and I didn't dress up as anyone. I don't dress up for Halloween. So I just like went in, we were drinking. Long story short, that was the first time in my life where I got blackout drunk and had no idea how I got from point A to point B. And you wake up with that terrible feeling when you get blackout drunk,
Yeah.
I still wake up with it when I get like really drunk.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, what? How did I get here? I remember little bits and pieces, but like, how did I get from point A to point B? So that I always think about that when people talk about getting blackout drunk and how horrifying that is. That particular blackout experience, having gotten from BU onto the train or in a cab back to my apartment in the back bay in Boston, getting into bed, getting undressed, and then getting up in the morning and like being like, I don't know
how any of this happened.
Yeah. And that was a really startling moment for me where that was the first time in my life, really the only time where I'm like, I'm not drinking anymore, and I meant it for like a long time.
Yeah, that's deep.
It was a dark time for me. But as far as like the really good like fucked up stories that are good or bad, like those are best. Let's spit on you a little bit.
I'm used to it.
Those are better. Oh Jesus. Those are better left between friends, I think.
Oh, okay, but everyone's my friend. Here's my favorite worst college, and it's not even that worse because I'm sure I did something horrible and I don't remember. But we had another party at the Antler House, big surprise, and our dumb friend parked in front of the house, and we went out, and it was again people had just moved back to university, so people were throwing away stuff they had from the summer, and people at our house had one of our friends upstairs was moving out, and then another guy had thrown away a coffee table and a piece of rug, and then there was all these beer bottles, obviously because we were drinking. So me and my other drunk friend went out there. We put the carpet over the dude's car, and then the table on top of the car, and then set the table as if it was like a party house. And he came out and he's super fucking pissed, and he threw it all on the ground. The bottle shattered and stuff, and yada yada. So then we continued to drink. He left. My friend and I went back outside. Drunk, my friend decided to tear down a no parking sign, just because. This is college and you're drunk. And then I decided what I was going to do is that there was a suitcase and a lamp out there. And I put the lamp in the suitcase, and I was like, I'll bring this up to the friend who's leaving as a goodbye present. And I was like, but this is all bulbous. I don't like that. It's a glass lamp. I'll jump on it to break the lamp and then bring up a thing of broken glass and give it to him because that'll be hilarious. And so I put it in the yard. I jumped on the lamp, and my knees went out from under me, and I fell on the back. And I started rolling around, grabbing my knee because I'd hyperextended my right knee, and I was in such pain. And finally, when it subsided, I like brought up both knees and looked over, and this knee was just gushing blood. I was like, well, that's bad. So I went inside, told my friend who was playing Mario Kart and his girlfriend was there, who's stone cold sober. The only person in the house sober was a girl. I'm like, hey man, I cut my knee out there. And she looks at it and she goes, oh my God, go to the hospital. And my friend playing Mario Kart without looking up just goes, soldiers fighting wars, Miller. And I was like, you're right. And so I tied a t-shirt around it and then went drinking in the neighborhood, walked around the entire time in this blood-soaked t-shirt. Woke up the next day, couldn't move my knee. It was totally swollen. Like it looked like a baby bit me and it was like all, I went to the hospital and they're like, you should have come in last night. There's nothing we can do for you now. Like we can wrap it, but you fucked yourself over big time on this. And I still have that scar to this day. Thank you very much for submitting that question.
That's sad. That's a really heartening story.
All Dem Rupees. I think it's pretty good because, like, if that's my worst college experience, that's pretty good. I also pooped in a frat house lawn once because I had to poop, but that was like, that's not even a bad thing.
Yeah, you poop somewhere else too.
Yeah, that story has been told. Everybody get ready for Aisha Tyler's podcast if it's not up yet. Thank you so much for your time, Colin.
You're welcome.
As again, All Dem Rupees, thank you for the question. Ladies and gentlemen, what do you want to see Colin and I talk about? Let us know in the comments below. Then make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video. Until next Tuesday or Thursday, have a conversational day.
So like, there's always this argument that like maybe we're sending too many people to college, and maybe that argument's fine. That like you need a blue collar worker or low skill worker.
You want somebody who's going to take a job that nobody else wants.
Shut up, Portillo.
Portillo, you motherfucker.
I'm gonna kill you.